All right, so JD Vance sat down for an exclusive interview with Fox and Friends and was asked to address the criticism that the Trump administration is under fire for right now over their tariff policy. The Democrat and media narrative currently, and even from some on the right, is that tariffs will cause prices to increase and will ultimately catastrophically punish the American taxpayer. JD effectively addresses this, but poses a very important question that you need to hear. This question is then answered perfectly by a former Democrat who went viral on Piers Morgan Uncensored, calling out Wall Street and explaining the why behind President Trump's tariff policies. Vance is then asked to address the reports that Elon Musk is getting the boot out of the Trump administration because he has become a liability, which, according to Tim Walz, who came out once again after Elon called him a creep and loser, saying that this was personal, before levying a new and very dishonest attack against Elon Musk and President Trump. You are going to want to hear that. Let's start with Vice President JD Vance on the tariffs here in this clip. I'm Zach Costello.
Explain to us how you get manufacturing here, but also get the cost down for the American people.
Well, if you go back a little bit, Lawrence, remember during the first Trump administration, everybody said that Trump's tariffs were going to be inflationary back then. What actually happened? We had 1.5% inflation. We had the fastest growing economy in a generation, and we had the beginning of a manufacturing renaissance in the United States of America. Then, of course, we had 4 terrible years of the Biden administration. But I think it's useful for all of us to step back and ask ourselves, what has the globalist economy gotten the United States of America? And the answer is fundamentally it's based on 2 principles: incurring a huge amount of debt to buy things that other countries make for us. And to make it a little bit more crystal clear, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity. It's not a recipe for low prices, and it's not a recipe for good jobs in the United States of America. For 40 years, we have gone down that pathway. We've seen closing factories. We've seen rising inflation. We've seen the cost of housing so high that most Americans can't afford to buy a home right now. President Trump is taking this economy in a different direction. He ran on that, he promised it, and now he's delivering. And yes, this is a big change. I'm not going to shy away from it, but we needed a big change, Lawrence. We cannot keep going down the Joe Biden globalist pathway where we have $2 trillion of peacetime debt and deficits. We have manufacturing disappearing. That is not working for Americans. We've got to take this country in a different direction.
So that question right there from Vance is an important one that I want you to focus on. What has the globalist economy gotten the United States of America? For 40 years, we've gone down this globalist pathway, and that has resulted in America amassing trillions of dollars in debt while our manufacturing jobs have been disappearing. We have to go in a different direction, as Vice President Vance just mentioned there, and that is what President Trump is doing. And despite the Democrats and media constantly hooting and hollering that President Trump only cares about rich people and billionaires and corporate elites, these are actually the ones punishing him the most right now for these economic moves. This clip from Piers Morgan Uncensored is going viral. This is a former Democrat calling out Wall Street, rich people, and perfectly explaining President Trump's tariff policies. Listen to this.
What I find so frustrating about the conversation around tariffs is that we all agree on the problem. We all agree that the deindustrialization of America led to the downward mobility of the American working class, deaths of despair, people working multiple jobs and not being able to afford the American dream. We all agree that it is deeply unfair for the American middle class to be bearing the burden of unfair tariffs from other countries. We all agree that it is great for the president to have leverage in order to demand reasonable things like that countries stop allowing fentanyl to murder 100,000 Americans every year, and that Mexico do its part to police its own border. And yet when somebody has the courage to show up and say to Wall Street, screw you, I am waging war. I am waging class warfare on behalf of the American working class. And you elites in Wall Street, you do what you need to do, because I'm not going to stop fighting for the American working class. Suddenly, everybody is sitting around going, oh no, the stock market. Yeah, the stock market looks like that because the rich are punishing Trump for siding with the neglected and humiliated American working class over them. We have already seen these tariffs work, Pierce. The number of people crossing the southern border is at 0. Fentanyl is at record lows for the last 10 years. We have already seen $1.2 trillion in manufacturing invested in this country since January 21st. So they have already worked. Now, how long is Wall Street going to keep trying to punish this president for standing the American working class? I don't know, but I can tell you that the view from the street is people cannot believe that there is a president who is working for them, who is putting them first and telling Wall Street to go screw itself. Wall Street, which picked the Democrats for the last 3 election cycles in a row. That's what the real story is here.
You see, what we finally have is a president who is standing up for American industry and the working class on the world stage. The globalist elites have profited off of the backs of hard-working Americans, and they've looted our industries and have hollowed out our heartlands. And now they are done. A change needs to be made, guys, and the current status quo is leading us down a path where most of us will be able to afford nothing, American or foreign. It's now time to put our money where our mouth is and focus in on buying American. All right, JD is then asked to address the claims that Elon Musk is leaving, according to the left, because he has become a liability for the Trump administration. This makes what Tim Walz says in this final clip here just a complete and abject lie. Listen to this.
I want to get to some other news because there were some reports that came out that Elon Musk is leaving. Now, of course, the president had already said he was only going to be here for a temporary basis.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Doge will continue after Elon Musk. Will he still be an advisor to you and the president? I know y'all have a great relationship. Tell us about it.
Well, first of all, that report I saw was total fake news. Yeah. Elon came in and we said, we need you to make government more efficient. We need you to shrink the incredible, vast bureaucracy that thwarts the will of the American people, but also costs way too much money. And we said that's going to take about 6 months. And that's what Elon signed up for. But of course, he's going to continue to be an advisor. And by the way, the work of Doge is not even close to done. The work of Elon is not even close to done. You look at all of the fraudulent grants that they found. You look at people who are 150 years old, who are fraudulently collecting Social Security payments. You see our Social Security system, 40% of the people who are calling in are actually committing fraud. That means the 60% who need their Social Security checks are waiting in line. Doge has got a lot of work to do. And yeah, that work's going to continue after Elon leaves, but fundamentally, Elon is going to remain a friend and an advisor of both me and the president, and he's done a lot of good things. People don't realize how vast and uncontrolled the bureaucracy was. We've started to chip away at it, but there's a lot of work to do. It's not going to happen all in 6 months. It's going to take a long and committed effort.
So you just heard the very common sense duty that Elon Musk and Doge have when it comes to making the government more efficient and dismantling the bureaucracy that has gotten rich and corrupt off of the backs of the American people. Now, listen to Tim Walz explain why Elon Musk is such a problem.
Elon Musk got very upset about this. He genuinely seemed like emotional in an interview about this. I want to just play. He just really got in his feelings about this. I want to play this for you and get your response.
You had Tim Walz, who's a huge jerk, running around on stage with the Tesla stock price, where the stock price had gone in half. And he was overjoyed. What an evil thing to do. What a creep. What a jerk. Like, who derives joy from that?
Are you a creep and a jerk?
Well, that's a badge of honor if he thinks I am. Look, it's not personal with him. It's a little bit personal. I don't want to be disingenuous. The guy does bother me. It's a little bit personal. But look, my beef on this is that this guy is out there crying about his portfolio and about stock while I'm making, a comment. And my mom's Social Security check this month is late. That he's attacking the portfolios of working Minnesotans and working Americans who've paid into these programs that he calls a Ponzi scheme. He's taking it and laughing with his chainsaw about destroying the lives and undermining things and institutions that make life better for Minnesotans. Of course, he doesn't care about these agencies because he has all this money. Can you imagine being the richest man in the world and taking offense that I said something about Tesla stock? Look, if I'm Donald Trump won Wisconsin. I'll give him that. But he's sharing his presidency and the White House and who knows what else with this guy who's a loser. He lost. This guy's really bad at this. He made the case that everything hinged on this. And I just want to give a shout out to the folks in Wisconsin, to Ben Wickler, to, of course, Justice-elect Crawford, and to the people of Wisconsin who you said this right, Chris. This was a referendum on, does democracy stand or does oligarchy and a king make the difference? And this was a referendum on Elon Musk and by extension by Donald Trump. A 10-point win in Wisconsin is an absolute massacre. Remember, this was a 1-point race in November. So I am angry with this guy. I'm glad he's irritated with me. He's a bully. He's picking on people that can't speak up. He's undermining the basic tenets of this country, also that he can, an unelected oligarch run things. It's outrageous. And look, if Donald Trump wants to continue to hang around with him, I certainly think the DNC should think about hiring Elon Musk and send him to every race that we're in, because we will win. We will win.
Did you hear Tim Walz completely just make up the fact that his mom's Social Security check was delayed because of what Elon Musk and Doge is doing? Like, prove it, Tim. Prove it to me right now. And yes, taking a chainsaw to the fraud, waste, and abuse within these government programs is exactly what the American people want from Elon Musk and Doge. Finally, isn't it rich that Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's vice presidential running mate, is calling Elon Musk a loser? Crazy stuff. That's it for you guys today. Make sure to subscribe if you watch this channel consistently. God first, quick-hitting commentary to keep you informed and in truth. I'll see you in the next one.